Hey guys, it's Spaces Sims, and we are back with more Charade Maniacs, continuing Tomose's route. I don't remember what happened because it's been a few days. As you know, I don't record a lot over the weekend. It's been 2 days since I recorded, but I'm like, I remember nothing. Anyway, so I wiped and wiped my eyes, but I kept crying. You'll know better where we are than I am, bird. I stayed in my room and didn't eat lunch or dinner. Even when I tried not to think about it, I couldn't. Mose, you jerk! That's right, didn't we have an argument with him in the hallway that everybody was like privy to, kinda? I felt like a kid. I was saying all the mean things that I would say when I needed to vent and had nowhere to go. Yeah, every once in a while you gotta throw a temper tantrum, it's fine. It's okay if you're alone and you're doing it and nobody sees it. Like, it's fine, nobody's witnessed it. Okay, cool. When you're doing it in public, that's when there's a problem. Oh, I hated that. So why do that? It was in front of Futami and Gyobu, too. Did he just force kiss us again? Like, I can't remember what happened, guys. My ears felt hot just thinking about it. I definitely felt embarrassed, but I couldn't understand the pain I was feeling in my heart. My tears kept falling and my face was red. I didn't know what I was feeling anymore. Oh no. I didn't understand my feelings, or Tomose's feelings anymore. I don't want to believe in him. I don't want to believe in him or even face him anymore. I just wanted to get away from Tomose in that moment. I thought I could figure it out with some distance. I felt that I'd be able to think clearly. Okay, wait. Do I sense that we're going to have a stream starting soon and it's going to be the school one with us and Tomose because we're like, I don't even want to be around Tomose. I just need a distance to figure it out. And it's like, stream starting in 3 minutes. And it's going to be the one with Tomose and they're like, come on. Come on. But I can't right now. Reality was so cruel, though. It was impossible to avoid Tomose while living in that cramped lodging. This would have been the perfect fucking game. Come on, writers! Perfect time to throw that in! There were also dramas every day, so I would have to act with Tomose in a romance drama periodically. We're in a drama together every 7 days, so another one should be coming soon. Oh, that's true. There's like a set schedule kind of for them. I forgot about that. Because I was thinking like this would be the perfect time where they're like, wait. Shit's weird. Alright, let's do this. It'll be fun. You know what I mean? Think about it. Like, you're the I mean, obviously, as the producer, you might not know what's going on. You might, whatever. But, like, we've got watchers around us. So, like, the producer, potentially, at least the director, somebody knows what's happening behind the scenes, okay? So, let's just say the producer knows, is getting little updates and stuff, right? So, we're having this argument, the watchers are recording it, they know what's happening, and then, like, the producer gets wind of it, is like, oh, you want to make things more dramatic and fun, right? And especially, like, Futami as the sponsor, right? Oh, it's my job. Yeah, I wanted to fuck with people, lead everyone to a dead end. That's more exciting. Obviously, it's not like, we want the dramas to be good, guys. Act your best. It's like, oh no, but if you fuck up and then you have to die, like, that's cool. That's exciting. Because the Arcadians are a little... I can't whistle, but like a little cuckoo set. You know what I mean? They're little cuckoo bananas. So whoever would get wind and know what's going on, obviously Futami would, because he was right there when it happened. So, okay. And Gyobu, and I'm still pegging Gyobu as a second sponsor because, like, something's up with this fucker, and I don't know, unless they're gonna drop something else on us later. But, like, so even if they weren't watching, somebody's seeing the shit. So somebody would get it and be like, oh, hey, Spacey and Tomose are at odds. Let's make them do their drama. Because you know it wouldn't be like, oh, okay, I can just act around him. And even though acting romantically would be awkward for me, it's way more awkward when you're in a fight with the person you have to be romantic with. And then we're going to act badly and bad things are going to happen. And then, you know what I mean? That's more exciting for these psychopaths. I mean, that was on the theory of, like, forgetting that they're, like, it's every 7 days, so whether you're good with each other or not, like, if they were just deciding, let's do this one today. These people are arguing? Yeah, let's put them in something. You know what I mean? there's like a set schedule. Like, well, it's Tuesday, time for this, you know, which is fine, I guess. But like, it would be a little more fun if they were doing things where they can needle it on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you guys are in an argument? Ha! Did that make it worse? 2 days later, now another one. You know what I mean? But it's like a set weekly scheduled program, so fine. You know, whatever. Still gonna be dramatic, but anyway. What should I do during the drama? Tomose can probably do it like nothing happened, no matter what the content is. I don't want to do this. I want to hate Tomose even more now than I do. Even more than I do now, sorry. Hate? No, I don't hate him. I can't hate him. No matter what happens, we've been together too long and shared too much. One thing falling apart didn't mean that I should lose everything else. I don't like this. I care about him. He's so important to me, and I don't want to feel as distant for him as I do right now. Distant from him, sorry. I can't read today. I couldn't sleep that night, so I wanted to get some fresh air. When I made it downstairs, I heard a sound. Tomose. I heard someone in the kitchen, and I found Futami cooking. Uh-huh, interesting. He was skillfully cutting up vegetables and sprinkling them over rice in a bowl. I smelled a sweet and salty soup stock, so I knew that he was stewing fish in it. There was seaweed and grated ginger atop it. He put some tea leaves in an insulated pot. Sorry, bird. When I saw that, I took a deep breath and spoke up. Is that your midnight snack? She said she took a deep breath, anyway. Oh, you scared me. I didn't see you there. I heard you in the kitchen. So you finally come out of your room. Sorry for making you worry. I'd say I was fucking worried. I like the assumption. Sorry for making you worry. That's not what I said. I just said you came out of your room. Just stating facts. Don't worry about it. I know how awkward things can be, and I only know what... Oh, I know how awkward things can be, and only I know what's going on. How only you? Want some? It's fish stew with rice and tea. Did you make that for me? That's a really weird thing to say. I mean, and now he's saying, okay, but like, he's making stuff, and you're like, oh, is that your midnight snack? Oh, hey, you came out of your room, let's have a conversation. Did you make that for me? The fuck would I have made it for you? I didn't know you were coming out of your room, asshole. I mean, yes, he did, because it's Futami, and he was being considerate, and like, I'll make something and see if you want it, like, whatever, but like, that's really presumptuous of us to be like, did you make that for me? No. Excuse me, bitch? Not everything revolves around you. It does, because we're the main character in an Otome novel, where we're literally the only... novel, whatever. Where we're literally the only girl in a house full of men, so obviously everything revolves around me here, but it's kind of douchey to assume that, even when you know it. You know? What the fuck is up with her today? Jesus, you had one fight with your boyfriend and all of it, not boyfriend, whatever, and suddenly, like, the world revolves around you, girl? Like, simmer down. I don't know why it's so funny, but it is disjointing a little. You're like, excuse me? Not exactly. I was planning on eating it myself if you didn't want any. Then I'll just have half. Half it is. I ate the bowl of warm food and drank my tea. I finally felt myself relaxing. The muddy feelings from earlier weren't completely gone, but things felt better than being stuck in that swamp. You're sitting far away. Well, Utami finished his bowl and laughed about it. After what had happened, it was sort of embarrassing, but I also didn't want to talk to any men right now. Well, that's going to be hard. Being so kind to me, maybe I'm being a bit rude. I have every right to sit wherever the fuck I want, and it doesn't have to be in your lap. In fact, if I wanted to sit in your lap, I feel like I should get consent for that, sir. I'm ornery today. Look, I can't blame you. I know what you're feeling. My feelings? Don't worry, I won't suddenly kiss you or anything like that. Wow. Hi, tiny bird! The tiny bird's downstairs chirping. He's all by himself, because fat bird's up here. Jammed under my chin. I don't mean to. Being so warm makes sense. Oh, you being so wary. God damn, I can't read today, guys. I'm sorry. God, you being so wary makes sense. After all, most cast members are men, so it's probably tough. Things might be different if I could talk to another girl about romance. There's no point in worrying about that. Utami was the easiest person to talk to who knew about the situation. It must have surprised you. Sorry about earlier. Sena, you were the victim. I'm sure there was a reason for it, though. I mean, okay, there's a reason for everything. Usually. There is a reason Futami kissed me. But it's really weird that you put those two sentences together. You were the victim. I'm sure there's a reason you were the victim, though. Like, I mean, it's not wrong. There is a reason. If you become a victim, there's a reason for it. Because that person who is victimizing you chose you. That's the reason. But it's just a really weird way to say that. You know what I mean? It's not wrong, but it's also wrong. I mean, he's correct in that there was a reason for what happened. Amose crossed the lines. But it's just a really weird thing to say. You know what I mean? The reason was, I suppose it was my fault. Well, let's not blame ourselves for this shit. Let's back it up. Stop that. I can listen if you want to talk about it. His voice was gentle. The way he said it, I couldn't help but tell him about it. Mose was mad because I suspected him of something. I asked him if he was the sponsor. Okay, listen. I want to say, I ain't mad about this. You know I am, deep down. I'm mad about having done Futami's Red Second. But that's, again, it's a problem with the game and how they coded everything and how their flowchart. Okay. But now knowing what we know, like, I'm not. It at least is making me feel better about it. Like, okay, I hate that, but something funny comes out of it, and that's this shit. Because now we're talking to Futami. Like, I asked him if he was the sponsor, as we say, talking to the /A sponsor. Because again, I don't know if Gyoba might be one too. We don't know. I'm still banking on that. I'm still in that boat until we see what's going on with him. But like, still, it's kind of funny now knowing what we know. I still don't think I would choose for the game to have worked out this way. I wouldn't choose to do it this way. But it's too late now. And this is kind of funny now. Like, all right, we can have fun with it. Even if I'm, like, salty inside. But I'm always salty, so whatever. I see. The sponsor. What did he say? He didn't answer me, but he was angry about me suspecting him in the first place. And then he's probably not the sponsor. I agree. But things got heated the moment I asked, so we couldn't work things out properly. But the sponsor stuff aside, I couldn't bring myself to believe in Tomose. We were both emotional and unable to talk. I know it's my fault. I mean, okay, I get him being emotional and angry is your fault in this case because you accused him of being the sponsor, and you should know him better than that. But at the same time, emotions are already heated, everyone's under stress, and you're not all thinking logically and rationally, so, doesn't make us accusing him and not having faith in him better. So yeah, that's the reason why he was pissed, but that doesn't give you the right to just kiss me. That's different. So like, we can't really blame ourselves for that aspect of it. Him being mad, yeah, kind of is our fault. But like, the way he chose to release that anger, force kissing me, I don't think we should have to take responsibility for that. I made him mad, but that's not my fault that he punched the wall. You know what I'm saying? I'm at fault for his anger. He is at fault for what he chooses to do with said anger. Okay? Or how he processes it. Okay? You learn to take responsibility for your fucking shit. Okay? Anyway, because there's always going to be outside influences no matter what happens in your life. There's always going to be some kind of outside influence. And sometimes these things make you act irrationally. We're like, yes, I can trace all this stuff back to, it was why you're in therapy, right? I trace this back to my parents. Okay? Like, that's where it always goes, right? It's always whatever. But it's not always somebody else's fault. I can trace my problems back to XYZ, but I choose how I react to things. And it's about learning where these things come from. Yes. why these things happen and how you react to them and trying to control that. You can't always control how you react to things, right? You're always going to act sometimes irrationally. It's learning how to stop doing that and not always blaming other people. Technically, yes, we are at fault for pissing him off. Tomose didn't just get angry for no reason. We made him mad. Absolutely. She made me mad. I was perfectly fine until this bitch came along and made me mad. You can vent. You chose to force kiss her. That's on you. Okay? So, like, responsibility for your actions. He doesn't have to take responsibility for his anger because he didn't just get angry for no reason. Somebody else kind of forced that on him. You know what I mean? You can't control your emotions. You can control how you fucking react and how you use them. Okay? Like, yeah, people are gonna make you sad. Alright, yes. The fault is the person who made me sad. Sure. So I stabbed them. That's no longer their fault. They made me sad. So I stabbed them. Stabbing them is your fault. You can't just, oh, okay, well, that's because they made you sad. All right, whatever. Or whatever. I don't know why you'd stab someone if they made you sad, but you get what I'm saying? Like, good God, there's a line. There is a line, and it is not our fault that he kissed us. That is not how this works. Anyway. I know it, but I just don't understand it. I wanted to believe in Tomose, so I asked him, but... I see. Utami just nodded and listened to what I had to say. When he did that, my feelings turned from mud to sand. I felt like I could move again. I thought I'd be able to calm down a bit if I kept my distance. We have the dramas here. Yeah, you couldn't run away even if you wanted. It's tough that I can't help you there. After a short pause, Futami tilted his head playfully. You hate Banjo. You hate him now. No, I could never hate him. If I hated him, we wouldn't argue like that. I wonder if that, like... You know what? I mean, again, I can find enjoyment in knowing what we know about Futami. I don't think that's how it should have played out, and it does take away, but... Again, okay, I'm salty about it. But I'm not mad about it, I guess. You know what I mean? Because this, like, playful... Do you hate him? Like, he's looking for an in, trying to get me into his pyramid scheme. And you know what? It's going to be interesting now because, like, my brain, like, if we did Tomose's route first, blah, 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 by the time we got to Futami, I would have kind of forgotten about some of this. You know what I mean? Unless it triggers, like, why is he looking at us? Why is he being sus? That's weird. And then maybe I would have been like, oh my God, you know what? When he was asking us this, oh! But, like, I'm not going to remember all the little details. But but like now it's fresh in my mind because we know what we know. So now when he does weird things like this, you're like, oh, you think you have an in. Not joining your MLM. Get out of here. You know what I mean? Like or your cult, actually. It's more like a cult, but you know? Like now certain things that he does where they would be kind of innocuous are definitely sus. So I thought so. You're talking to him because you want to come to an understanding. But in that case, how about temporarily giving him a chance? You can think about it more after we're back to our world. Huh? Give him a chance? As in, date Tomose? But that would mean... Are you saying I should lie about my feelings to date Tomose? Not at all. You don't hate him, right? You just can't say whether or not you have any romantic feelings for him. Well, that's true. Then why don't you try dating him? You can think about it after that. I mean, that's not, like... Is it valid? Like, someone asks you out and you're not interested. Yeah, I guess I'll go out with you just to see. But, like, you're not interested, you're not interested. But to be fair, we don't know how we feel. We're like, I don't think I have romantic, do I? I don't know. So, Futami's solution is not totally a bad idea. I don't know if it's the best idea, but it's not totally bad. You know? Date Tomose. Dating someone like that seems strange. I think Tomose wouldn't like it either. If you told him, like, look, I don't know if I have romantic feelings for you, but I'll agree to, like, go out on a couple of dates and, like, see if anything develops. Then you give him the option to be like, nope, not good enough, or, yeah, okay. You know? Really? He's obsessed with you. He'd be overjoyed to getting the chance to date you. But that's... I couldn't completely deny what Futami said. Maybe Tomose would be happy. But it wasn't right. I hoped it wasn't right. It would hurt Tomose if we returned to our world and I still couldn't see him as a boyfriend. When people date and break up, it happens to everyone. Wouldn't it be better to maintain the peace here? If you two are a couple, then he'll be more cooperative about returning, right? A momentary happiness isn't that bad. I mean, it's interesting because, again, now knowing what we know, this seems very manipulative and shady. Whereas I feel like if we didn't know, and Futami was saying this, you're like, hey, this is kind of fucked up. But like you'd think more like, I guess it's coming from a good place, even though I don't think it's the right course of action. But now it's like it's more shady knowing. You know? I don't know how he thinks he can manipulate anything out of this, but it just seems more shady, this whole thought process. And like, I mean, again, he's not totally wrong. I'm like, okay, let's go out on a couple dates and see if anything happens. It's kind of like the same thing. You talk to someone, like if you meet someone online, whatever, you go out to see if there's any chemistry. You know what I mean? Like, just because you're going out on a date doesn't mean, like, we are forever in love and we're getting married. That's not how it works. Okay? If you play Baldur's Gate 3, every time you say hi to Gale, he thinks you're getting married. But that's different. Okay? He's weird. All I can think of in my head, like, you're like, hey, what's up? You want to see a magic trick? We're married now. Like, that's not how it works normally. But you know what I mean? But, like, being like, okay, Tomose, we should date. Yeah, let's be boyfriend, girlfriend. Now that's wrong. But again, it's how you present the information. What Futami's suggesting, how he's suggesting is a little off. But the base idea of suggesting it, like, try going out with them, see if feelings develop. Not a bad idea, but you have to present it to Tomose like, look, I don't know if I have romantic feelings for you, but I'm willing to go out on a couple of dates and, like, see if anything develops, if you're cool with that. Not like, oh my god, yes, Tomose, I am totally in love with you. You know what I mean? Don't pretend. Just give them, like, tell them what's what. Because that's how normal people date. You meet someone, hey, you want to go out? Like, okay. Because you, like, you know, most of the time you would agree because you might have an interest in that person, they have an interest in you, and maybe things don't work out. You go on the date and you're like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. Cool. You know? Or, like, again, you meet someone online, you're online dating and you don't know anything about that person. You've had a couple conversations and maybe you're like, oh, whatever. You might meet up for coffee and see what that person's vibe's like. And, like, maybe you don't like them when you meet them in person. They don't like you. You know what I mean? Like, it's different. We know Tomose. So usually, like, you don't go friends to lovers and that person doesn't really like you, but then you go out with them. You know what I mean? But I don't think there's anything wrong with trying a couple dates, hanging out, seeing what's what, you know, seeing if you can develop these romantic feelings in a, hey bro, what's up? Like a friend date is different than a romantic date. You know what I mean? And not that a romantic date couldn't also be a friend, but you know what I mean? There's just a different vibe there. So, like, have Tomose take you out on a kind of romantic-y date and see what happens, you know? You just have to tell him. It's about communication. We're not going to do it, though. But I guess faking being in a relationship with Tomose is going to make us actually really like him. That's how this one's going to work out. It's interesting. I don't know if we've seen a game where they've done it like that. I'll just pretend. Okay. Even so, I don't want to lie. Would it really be a lie? Yes? You're too honest. Alrighty then. But Tommy, if you were in my shoes, would you accept his confession for the time being? I don't know. I couldn't say unless I was in it. However, I think white lies can be out of kindness, and it would be for the both of you. Both of us? I wasn't sure what Futami was trying to say. Futami was 6 years older than me, so maybe I would understand in 6 years. I doubt it, he's crazy. If I have to hurt him afterwards, wouldn't it be better not to do it at all? Either way, if you can't accept him or run away from him, there's only one thing left to do. If you care about your friendship with each other, you need to respect each other and not leave things up in the air. Just make up your mind and argue. Argue? Then it'll be like today. Maybe. Well, if you say what... Oh, okay. I don't know why my brain couldn't process that as I was trying to read it. Anyway, if you say what you believe with conviction, the rest might be different. Conviction? If he can see that, he'll seriously consider why you won't accept him. You're overthinking things because you don't want to hurt him, but you should just tell him everything that's on your mind. You'll both continue to sink otherwise. Which is better, that or a lie. You have to make a decision. I do actually kind of respect him in this, like, because he's like, you could just try going out with him, and if you don't like that, then you got to do that. Like, you got options. And he gives you the options, and it's just like, you know. So, like, I don't think he's all fucking psycho. I mean, which is, again, even in his route, when he came out, it's like, you don't give off that vibe. Even here, there are moments where you could read him like, okay, you're trying something. But then he gives you this advice, and you're like, I don't see how this is trying to manipulate me. I feel like this is just genuinely good advice. Like, you're trying to be helpful. And that's not something to someone who's dark and like, so, like, then we have moments like this where I'm like, still now I don't buy that you're the sponsor, and you're like obsessed with this person, and it's weird because you don't come across like that at all. And I guess that's why the twist is supposed to be so like, but I don't think it was done well still. I do feel like now I can read into moments with him like, oh, you're being shady right now. And then you go back to not being shady at all and just being a genuine person, and now I'm confused. Like, I don't know. We would just keep going in weird wibbly wobblies, and it's, anyway. Unless Haiji's your younger brother, then I fucking 100% be like, okay, that explains a lot. Or again, a stand-in for your brother, I guess that could explain a lot, but... When I returned to my room, I thought about what Futami said. I can't accept Tomose's feelings right now. Even if it hurts Tomose. I have to tell him what I'm thinking. I'll do so on stage, where Tomose will see that my conviction is true. Hi... Stream status. Drama starts in 3 minutes. Stream content. Finding True Love, episode 14. Genre, romance drama. Cast, Rui, Spacey Sena, Minato, Tomose Banjo. I looked at the display and reread the stream status. The drama came as expected, and it was a romance drama too. I had a feeling the story would be something like this. That's why I didn't want to do it. It was the most unfitting drama at the time. Acting is acting. A drama is a drama. Amazing how Tomose can always play so many different roles. As for me, I looked up and saw Tomose in front of me. Tomose noticed my gaze and turned to me without hesitation. I couldn't understand what his expression meant anymore. I don't know, but I have to tell him. While I had made up my mind on the matter, the display showed the live stream countdown. I won't lie. I don't want to lie. Even if it's an act, there are things I can and can't do. I want to believe in Tomose again. I want to be able to understand him. I have to tell him, in my own words. Rui and Minato had feelings for each other, but with the sudden appearance of a fiancé, the relationship has become strained. At the same time, Rui realizes how important Minato is to her and calls him to the park. There, she'll confess her feelings for him. Or, as we're gonna do, I can't, I'm in love with fiancé! The drama starts. The display showed that the live stream had started and Tomose was already in character. Tomose was playing Minato, who was called by my character. The story wouldn't start until I called out to him. Since I hadn't started the act, Tomose probably felt troubled, but he didn't show it at all. Rui tells Minato how she feels. She loves him and doesn't want to be separated, but I'm different. Tomose grew impatient and approached me, while maintaining a neutral expression. Rui, I know that you're mad at me, but I have my reasons for everything. He's improvising. He added that part in to get me to start my lines. I explained it to you last time. If you still have something to say to me, and tell me now. Isn't that why you called me here? Yes, I do have something to say. I see. Then... And look, he's looking all happy. Like, yeah. Tomose briefly showed relief because he thought I finally started the act. But I'm not here to say that I love you, Tomose. Pearl at least uses fucking fake name. That's not what I want to say right now. Why aren't you acting? You know what'll happen if you don't act. I could tell what Tomose was trying to tell me from his eyes. Before I could respond to that, Tomose improvised another part. Rui, I know you have something to say, but that isn't it right now. You actually love me, don't you? You came out here to tell me that, right? I know you better than anyone. Just nod for me, and that's enough for us to go back to normal. Otherwise, there's no more turning back. Please continue the act. If you don't continue the act, you'll have a punishment. You'll have a punishment game. I read that on my display, but I shook my head in silence. I didn't intend on acting. You could still be dramatic and tell him everything you want to tell him, but use the fake name. You know what I mean? And then they'll be like, what the app? Ooh! Because it's a twist. It makes it a little more dramatic, right? Tomose saw that and maintained the act of two lovers as he whispered in my ear. You have to act. Just hold back right now. I know you hate me, but we're in a drama. You have to act. I don't hate you. I've never hated you. Then, there's no way that we could start dating with how you're acting right now. Even if it's an act, even if we're in Arcadia, I won't lie. I won't say what I don't mean. We can talk about this later. No, I have to tell you this now. I want to know whether you've actually changed or not. I need to know if I can believe in you, Tomose. Hey, please. I grabbed Tomose by the arm, just as he'd done to me. I did it so that he couldn't run away. I did it so that I couldn't run away either. Tomose, in the past, you told me that you wanted to be a hero. That you'd be an actor to become a hero. You said that the cool heroes are the ones who are always on the side of justice, right? You said you wanted to be like that. And if I was crying alone, you'd become the hero and always come to my side. Tomose, when you made that promise, I felt so happy, and I wanted to believe in you. This is your final warning. If the act ends here, you'll be the target of the punishment game. We're kind of acting. We're saying lines. They're just not the right ones. Are you sure you want to do this? I ignored the director's message and continued to talk to Tomose. I mean, all we had to do was be like, listen, Minato, I was thinking I was going to go, but I can't lie to you. I have no feelings for you. She could have just said everything she wanted to say to Tomose, but as if it were in the drama, because then at least it'd be exciting and entertaining. You know what I mean? Because the Arcadians don't know what's in the script. So, like, I feel like this is stupid. Like, I get they kind of want it to be like, ooh, a punishment game type of thing, but the thing is it's fucking dumb the way they're doing this. Because it's not like it's totally out of character. I mean, it's out of the script, but it's a romance drama. It's not like it's an action where we're like, no, wait, I need to tell you how I feel, where we're like totally throwing everything off the rails. In the drama, we're supposed to come up to Tomose and be like, oh, I'm in love with you. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. But instead of acting and being like, I know that's what you think. You think I called you here to tell you I love you, but I'm going to tell you my true feelings. Listen to me. And then just tell him everything that you feel while pretending you're talking to Minato. Call him that. You know what I mean? Like, there was a way to do this. And if she was doing it like that, there would be no reason for them to be like, oh, punishment game. Because it's like, well, it's not in the script. But they don't care if you improvise as long as it's entertaining. We're just like, no, Tomose, listen, I'm going to have this conversation with you. Like, at least throw it out there instead of whispering to him and pretending that you're not, act. Tell him how you feel as if it's part of the show. You know what I mean? So I kind of don't like the way they wrote this, where, like, she had that opportunity and wouldn't get a punishment, but they're going to force a punishment kind of game. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't like the way they did this. Like, I get it, like, oh, we want the punishment game and the drama, but it just doesn't logically fit, you know what I mean? Anyway. Tomose, right now you're suspicious of everyone, and you say that I'm the only one you need. Seeing you throw everything else away isn't the Tomose I know. You're a completely different person, and it scares me. And I mean, if you were saying this, it might not make sense for the drama, but it might be interesting that Arcadians would be like, I have no idea what's going on, this is interesting. Eating popcorn. Everyone changes with enough time. Maybe it's impossible to stay the same forever, to never change, but even so, what you are right now is wrong. You lost your feelings from back then. Don't you want to be a hero anymore? Aren't you going to be an actor back home? And I just feel like this is all coming out of because he's like, I don't want to go back home because I want to stay here with you. And then she's like, you're not being a hero. And it's like, feels weird. It's like they're trying to kind of force that in, but it's like again, I feel like sometimes some of the things they're trying to write in like don't quite make sense. Like you didn't quite do it well enough. I don't know. Because it doesn't feel that believable. There's something about it you're like, okay, I mean, I guess, like, you're not acting like yourself. Yeah, he's in love with you, and like, I can't talk to you if you're gonna be like this. Be like what? I guess it's the stubbornness, his inability, he doesn't want to go home, but he already explained to you why he doesn't want to go. And like, all she's doing is like, don't you want to be a hero? Like, I get what they're trying to do, but again, I don't think they're doing it well. Like, I don't know. Tomose doesn't want to go home because here he can stay and we can act in dramas even if it's fake because he's literally like, okay. And this is a stressful situation. It's a weird pressure. And he's like, I got that and it's the first drama that you were instantly thrown into where he got to kiss you. And he's like, you know what? Staying here ain't so bad. So like, that's one thing. And okay, fine, sure. You can kind of see where that's coming from. But the way she's like getting mad and you're not acting like you're not you and like blah, blah, blah. It's like, but he is. He just doesn't want to leave because he gets to be with you. And I can understand you being upset about that. And like, you're not thinking rationally, but she's just not communicating. Like what they have her ranting on about isn't fitting with what's happening. To me, I'm like, there's a disconnect here. You're like on totally different tracks. Tomose doesn't want to go home because he can be with you and live in a lie. And instead of confronting him about that, like, you're not acting rationally. You'd rather stay here in a fake world forever than go home. But I'm going to go home. I'm going to get enough points to go home and you're going to be here without me. So, like, it doesn't matter if you think this is better. Like, that's the kind of argument you should be having. Not, you're not acting like a hero and you're just being weird. And, like, you're not, like, you just, you know? So there's parts that you're like, there's pieces floating all over, but you're not putting them together. I don't know. Don't you care about that promise we made anymore? And that's not... I want to believe in you, Tomose, but I can't trust you if you're a completely different person. And he's not a completely different person. I mean, I guess you feel like a completely different person. Valid, I guess. But, like, I just don't think they're putting the pieces together. She's over here on this tangent. He's over here with his thought and they're not putting them together. Like, you're not connecting the dots where you should be, you know? There's no way I can fall in love with someone I can't trust. That's valid. Tomose, I care about you, so I have to say this without lying. You've ignored your final warning. Punishment game commencing. Wait, this is my fault. Direct the punishment in me. She's ignored our warnings and continued to go off script. Let's have the punishment be emotions this time. It may be a hard punishment, but this is her second time after all. Giving the punishment more weight would be most appropriate. Emotions? If I lose my emotions, what would happen? But I understand. I'll take the punishment game. Hey! I grabbed onto Tomose's arm even tighter and looked him in the eyes. I remembered our shared memories and emotions. Tomose, you're still my hero, right? If I'm in danger, you'll always be there to save me, right? See, okay, this makes sense. Being like, don't you want to be a hero? And like, oh, you know what? If I take the punishment game, I can say that. Okay, this makes sense. But like, I do feel like they came about it in a weird way. If this is the point they were trying to get to, like, you want to be a hero? Save me then. You know what I mean? Like, I believe in you, Tomose. I believe in him. I'm sure Tomose will understand my conviction. Stop! Dramas aren't done alone. I was the one who said not to cause trouble for others. Sorry, Tomose. I didn't know how else to share my conviction, and this is my last chance to do so. So, like, the point they got to makes sense. But they got here in a weird way, and just some of the things she was saying to him, like, I don't know, you're not you anymore! Yes, like, what? It just, I mean, I guess, when you get to the end, but, like, she took a roundabout fucking way in the spiral backwards, upside down, and then you get here and you're like, I mean, you could have taken the direct path. I don't know. Not coming out to the punishment game. I guess just the way she's communicating to him instead of being like, you're not acting like you, and it's completely insane to say you never want to leave here just so you can be with me when I don't know if I have romantic feelings for you and I could never fall in love with someone who's doing something irrational and crazy like this. I guess that's what she was trying to say, but girl doesn't know how to use her words. Okay? And that's on the writers. I want to see if I can believe in Tomose one more time, or else the world began to flash, and all I can remember was Tomose calling for me. And yes, she was off script, but again, I feel like if you were being dramatic and telling him how you feel without, going on the script, then it might have been okay, and maybe you wouldn't have gotten a punishment game. So, I mean, I get what they were trying to do here, but. Whoa. And did someone die or something? Everyone's here, but it's so quiet. Nothing? No response? Speaks as Sana. Said that she lost her emotions. Right here. She doesn't really talk anymore, though. After hearing my name, I looked at Haiji. He sat next to me and stared at my face. Should I read this emotionless like a robot? Second time seeing Big Sis not talk. Should I say something? Should we read it robotic? I don't know if I can, guys. Want to talk? Can't think of anything. Okay. We're communicating less than when you couldn't speak. Makes sense. She's lost all emotion. People around me looked troubled. I wasn't asked anything, so I kept quiet and stayed in the middle of the circle. I still don't quite understand. What does it even mean to lose your emotions? For example, can she still go through daily life? That's the main problem right now. Bouncer, we have a question. Oh, cast members who lost their emotions. Does it have a negative impact on their daily lives? What about their acting in the dramas? There is no effect in everyday life. However, dramas are affected, but it is possible to do the bare minimum and read the script. At least we won't fight back this time. Okay, listen. That sounds so fucking horrible out of context. But I mean, now we'll get... I am reading the script. This is fun. Oh gosh, I am sad. At least we'll fucking do our job instead of being like, no, I need to convince... Like, girl. So, I mean, we'll probably get more points than we normally do. Because our acting can't be any worse. You won't get points, but you also won't have to deal with any punishment games. We might get points, not a lot. Someone will feel sorry for us and give us 1 point. That seems to be it. Just have to watch over her so there isn't any other negative stuff. The funny thing is you won't get points, but you won't have punishment games, but you also won't get points to be able to get your emotions back. She can do the drama, and she'll do the last drama again. She can read the script, right? You'd think that, but... Tina wasn't interested in acting for that episode, right, Bonjo? That's right. She had something to tell Bonjo, so she took the punishment game on purpose. She knew what she was getting into, and that's all there is to it. And then, of course, now knowing the result of Futami's conversation with us, Futami seemed to be giving us decent advice. Like, I'm not going to lie about, like, you could just go out with him and see what it's like and see if you fall for him, or you gotta just deal with it and whatever. You gotta fight it out. And she's like, no! I'm gonna go and take a punishment game! And if you think about it, like, the advice Futami gave us isn't necessarily bad. But I'm sort of wondering if he tailored it, like, I'm gonna say it this way and give you this advice because knowing you're dumb enough to then go and be like, I'm gonna convince him of my convictions because I don't want to argue with him, so I'm gonna tell him in the middle of a drama and take a punishment game. And then Futami's like, idiot. Was it a manipulation tactic now? You know what I mean? Because, like, the thing with Futami is knowing what we know about him, you could read into it and say, ooh, it was a manipulation tactic. Maybe. Okay, all right. But let's say you didn't know, right? Futami doesn't come across as the person who, like, when you look at it, you're like, that's a little shady. You're manipulating me? That's weird. Gyobu comes across as manipulative. There's other things that people say and do where you're like, okay. Futami doesn't really come across as like that. So when he comes out as being the sponsor, you're like, I don't believe this. There was no indication that you had this dark side, aside from right before you confessed and you stabbed yourself. You pulled that knife, then all of a sudden it was like, the fuck? And then it was like, no, I'm crazy and mad and dark and whatever. And you're like, okay, I mean, like, yeah, but like, where the fuck has this been the whole time? Where, you know what I mean? And I feel like, and again, it's just me, but if you played this game and you didn't know about Futami, reading this and going into this, were you like, Futami seems a little manipulative? Did you get that sense from him as it was building? If you did it the right fucking way? You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know if I would have gotten that sense. I think I can only see maybe the manipulation underneath because I know what I know. Whereas if I didn't know, I'd be like, well, Futami gave us some good advice. It did not work out, I think, the way he intended. Maybe it absolutely worked out the way he intended. You know what I mean? So, like, maybe that's the brilliance and, like, knowing what we know, being able to look and see the things he's doing. It's like, all right, I can maybe see some of you still don't get that weird sense of darkness that he supposedly has, but you could see the manipulation maybe. So I do still think they could have done Futami's route himself when he comes out a little bit better, where you're like, yeah, I'm not surprised now. Actually, look at me, what? All right. There were signs and I ignored them. There were no fucking, where the hell they come from, And it could be because we're missing all of this stuff where, again, he should have been done later. But I feel like when you're in his route, they should have sprinkled more of that at you. You know what I mean? Throw some salt in your fucking eyes so you were like, oh yeah, I should have seen that coming, I don't know. But anyway, I think there's a lot of things that I think we have fun in this game, but there's a lot of things that they don't exactly link together properly where you're like, this is a weird way to go about getting to where we are, and the end result works. Like this, taking the punishment game to prove my, like, whatever. Okay, but some of the things we're saying is like, that's not exactly what, and then you get there and you're like, okay, I see what you were trying to do here. I don't think you actually took the right path here, though. You know what I mean? So, I still enjoy the game, don't get me wrong, but we get to end results in weird fucking ways that are very baffling sometimes, and you're like, this doesn't make any damn sense. End result works, but the path here is goddamn cuckoo bananas. I don't know.
Right. So if anyone can make a decision here, it's Banjo.
Hey, Banjo, if you have something to say, now's the time. You should already know, Sina was...
I can't say. He's also feeling down right now.
I know. However, nothing's gonna change if we don't talk about this right now. Banjo, Sina really did care about you. I haven't known her long, but I know that much. Don't you think the way you've been going about things was wrong? The way I've been going about things? Yeah, because I don't know what... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay. Yeah, because I don't know what she was thinking when she did that. Maybe it's the way you tried to protect her that... Stop, Akase. This has nothing to do with us. She said so herself. Sis? She said that Tomose would come save her when she's in danger again. Yeah. I would have loved it more if it was Futami right now instead of Chigasaki, because I would have been like, sus as fuck brothers right here. Only because we know Futami's sus now, but... I think that's what she said. Tomo's the only one that can do anything here, so good luck. I'm going back to my room.
It's rare to see Gyobu actually being right. Oh, I shouldn't gossip. I'll go back to cooking. Want to help?
Well, I wasn't involved in the first place. Yeah, but I love you. Don't leave me. I miss you. I miss Ibana. I feel sad thinking that he's not going to be one of the first three characters. I'm starting to think that, like, of that grouping, Iochi was supposed to be one of the first characters. So, like, I miss Ibana a lot, man!
If there's anything I can do to help, let me know.
Yeah, I'll be here if you need advice or help, if that's okay with you.
Me too. I'll help with anything. Despite what the Watcher said, I'm worried about her being fine.
Yeah, we should keep an eye on her for a while. And there's eating, going outside, the time before and after dramas. I'll accompany her for everything.
And then you can ask us for help at any time. You two are our friends.
See, this is why I don't want to believe Chigasaki could be at all suspicious or be like a later locked route. He just seems so nice and sweet, but that could also be suspicious. You're so adorable! Are you sus as fuck? I don't think so. Listen, I don't think Akase's sus at all. I kind of feel like he might be Iochi's partner, so like whatever. So it's down to Chigasaki and Dazai. Dazai is the most sus between them because we don't know anything about him. He's there and he seems nice, but you could be like, he's not very open and not like, you know what I mean? You're kind of closed off. And that could just be your personality. But in a game like this, you're like, that's suspicious because you're not communicating with us and being social. You are when you need to be. You're not totally standoffish, but you're standoffish enough or reserved enough that it seems suspicious, right? But on the other hand, Chigasaki is so nice and there and helpful in all the routes we've seen, so maybe that makes you more suspicious because you're so nice and helpful, and maybe that's sus. They're like two sides of a coin, and I'm not sure which one's heads and tails right now. That one's gonna surprise me. I feel like, unless we go further, or once we open up and see, oh, next character is this, right? We see once Chigasaki or Dazai or whoever, whenever they come up in the rotation, then we'll be able to piece which one of those characters, which one the other one obviously is the lock one. But I'm still like, I don't know. And that doesn't mean that character's sus, but if they're the seventh character, you're somehow would be more suspicious than Futami. You're hiding something more. And like, I guess we won't know because then maybe, like, again, like there was a moment where I thought Dazai was Iochi's partner because, oh, I have a message on the bangle and he pieced out, right? So that's like the most sus thing about you aside from you just being reserved and not super social. That's it. There's really nothing for that. It's just everyone's suspicious and that's what's in the Dazai sus pile. It's not much. Okay, there's really nothing to go on there. Chigasaki is like nice and sweet and he's always very helpful and like friendly and that's sus because it's this game. Would any of those things be sus otherwise? No. No. Not at all. I mean, Abana's most sus thing is what the fuck's going on with your arm? Why are you only wearing one glove? And now we know. We kind of know. They've given us those clues on that. But you know what I mean? Like, everybody's got something like, Futami, least sus, not very sus at all, and now look at him. So, I mean, okay. Well, I'll give him that. But, like, if Akase isn't Iochi's partner, then my bet is on Dazai. One of them. I think they're leaning more based on everything we've seen of it being Akase. But if we go down Akase's route, say he's one of the first three characters, right? Because my thinking is if he's Iochi's partner, or even if he's not, I'm starting to feel like Tomose, Iochi, and Akase are the, whatevers. Akase or Chigasaki could also switch. That whole group, I'm very like, I don't know what's going on with them. The rest of them, I kind of got pegged. And only because we went down Futami's by accident, and I was like, well, shit. You definitely should have been the sixth route then. So, like, if we go down Akase's route first, right? And he's not Iochi's partner, then my bet is on Dazai. And if that's the case, then I would think Dazai would be maybe the other locked character because they don't want you to know who Iochi's partner is. But that being the twist is like, well, we already know that Iochi is a partner. You know what I mean? So, I don't know if that's really a good, valid reason, but they had to probably lock someone in each group. So, Iochi's partner will lock that character. You know what I mean? And if Dazai comes up first and he's not Iochi's partner, then I would say Akase is the locked route because he's Iochi's partner. But we already know Iochi is a partner, so what's the point of locking that? I don't know. Listen, the information group, they're all over the place and they keep spiraling, and I don't see any of them as being super sus. Again, Akase is probably the most sus just because he's the least sus to me. I feel like right now at this point, Tomose's first, obviously, we know that, was the least sus. Akase would have been the next person I would have picked as least suspicious. He wants everyone to be friends, whatever. Knowing that Iochi has a partner, then I would say Iochi's route will come before his because I think he's the partner. But still least fucking suspicious person after Tomose to me. Anyway. Friends, huh? What do you think, Banjo? I don't think anyone's friends with you, Futami, you shady bastard. He just comes across so nice, though. It's like, I say this, and I'm like, it's still hard to believe. Sana, are you able to respond to us at all? Yes. Sana's responses are more appropriate than Banjo's right now. Who would have guessed? A little confusing. Well, this world isn't that cruel. It looks like a dead end, but there's still a way out. I'll look forward to your decision. Are you being sarcastic? Are you seriously gonna be like that right now? I guess change comes hard. Here's the thing. You have to change if you actually love Sena. And still, I'd never hate her. Sena said the same thing. You two really are alike. Still don't get why you two aren't dating. The mystery as big as the traitor's identity. You know what? Okay. When they do shit like this, I don't hate it. I'm not that mad about it. Salty, but I guess I'm not mad about it. Salty! Again. We know my problems with the way they designed this, but I don't, like, because this is funny. It's a mystery as big as the traitor's identity, said the fucking traitor. One of them? Bravo, game! Son of a bitch! That's funny. Mose and I were left alone in the living room. Like, okay, there's benefits to not knowing anything at all. You know, going in blind and the mystery and figuring out. But there are also benefits to knowing all the answers. Because, like this. Like, Utami's saying that and knowing, and you're like, haha, game. What the fuck? And, like, you would have been like, okay, whatever. Right? And then you go, and you wouldn't remember that line. Maybe some people would. I wouldn't. We'd go down Futami's route later, and I wouldn't remember. Whoa, wait a minute. Remember that time he said something about the traitor's identity and his hand? Ooh, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But it's like a nice little, like, Easter egg, nice little thing thrown in that they're like, they won't get this and they'll never remember it's there. But I mean, I appreciate them for doing that. You know, good job. That's fun. I like that. Tomase approached me slowly and he held out his hand before speaking. Let's go back to your room. Come on. Okay. It's hard to be emotionless. Like, good morning. Can I come in? Yeah. I prepared breakfast, but do you want to eat here or go downstairs? I have to decide? Okay, you lost emotions, not your brain cells. I don't think you make a decision always based on emotion. You're like downstairs because that's logical. You know? Let's eat in the living room. Are you dressed? Yeah. Then let's go. He slowly approached me and held. Okay, I'm supposed to read this like a robot. God, I can't. He slowly approached me and held out his hand. I took his hand and followed after him. Could you imagine if that's how I read when I was reading these? We arrived at the living room, and I saw Akase, Chigasaki, and Iochi there. I feel like that's still like there. Listen. There are people that read like these guys. Morning. Good morning. Hey, Sina, can you hear me? I'm emotionless, not deaf. Yes. Good morning. Good. As long as you can hear. I'm going out for a run. I'm not deaf. I lost my emotions. I'm heartless, not hearingless. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I feel like it's so hard with the inner monologue to read it robotic. I'll try to read our statements and our out louds as robotic as possible, but it is very hard to read this robotically. So, I'll do the best I can, guys, but it's difficult. Chigasaki squinted a little and looked at both Tomose and me before going out. I feel like that still had too much emotion in it. There really wasn't, but like...
Even without emotion, she's still good at changing the way she talks, depending on the person. At least that hasn't changed.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. I see you're taking care of her. And that's nice. Oh, I wasn't being sarcastic. seem to take things that way quite often.
I'm sorry for always seeing things negatively.
It makes me think about what it means to use words. Well, I'm going to the library.
And for breakfast, and do you want rice or bread?
Do I have to choose?
Let's have rice then.
At least these scenes are sort of short. We talked a lot, but we're at time, so I'm going to stop here.
Yeah. Anyway, this is interesting. I'm wondering though, okay, so here's the thing. We lost our emotions. So we can't develop feelings for Tomose because we don't have emotions. So this is going to be very interesting because all we have is our logic and our processing power in our brain, right? So we see the things Tomose is doing. We're registering all of his actions and words and everything. There's no emotion behind them. You know, we are just here acknowledging, did this. Yes, okay. And then it's like, but that's usually how you develop feelings, is someone's being nice, blah, blah, blah. You're sitting there like, oh, that makes me feel, oh, they're really nice. Oh, you know what? And the next thing you know, feelings are developing. We don't have feelings. Or they've shut them off. They've shut off our feelings. Doesn't mean that our feelings aren't there. Well, I mean, I guess they aren't there. They could stop your vocal cords from working and stop your emotions from working. But does that mean your emotions really aren't there at all? Or it's just there's a disconnect, like they unplugged the wires? You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Like, okay, like, it's like a light switch, right? When it's on, there's electricity you're powering the bulb. The bulb is getting powered, right? When you turn the switch off, the light goes off. That doesn't mean that there's no electricity, that the power doesn't work. It just means that it's disconnected, it's turned off, you know? So like we are at or doesn't mean our emotions aren't there, they just unplugged them. Just flip that switch off. Our emotions could still be there under the surface, we just can't access them. You know what I mean? Like we couldn't use our voice. There was nothing physically wrong with my vocal cords. They just shut off that connection for our brain to make our voice work. You know what I mean? In Ibana's case, though, they actually took his motherfucking arm. He doesn't have an arm. It's in a fucking thing. So, like, they physically took a limb. That's not, I think there's a limb there, but you know what I mean? Like, that's not like, they physically took a limb. But when it comes to things like this, they can't physically take out your vocal cords, but they can stop the processing. It's kind of like with your hearing. Your ability to hear is gone because they disconnected that receptor between what's going into your eardrums and your brain. So you think you can't hear, but like all the bits and bobbles are there. You just need to plug those wires back in. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking that's the case with what's happening here. So they could say something like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't have emotions, but like they're still there underneath. We just don't know how to connect them. We can't connect our brain and our emotion boxes, right? Those connections are gone. But the emotions are still there. We can't access them. So when we get our emotions back, when they plug those connections back in, it's all of a sudden like, oh my God, all those little things Tomose was doing for me. I was building these emotions. I just couldn't access them because they were over there unplugged. But they still exist. You know what I mean? So they could go that route with it. You know, we're like, oh my God, those feelings were developing, but I didn't see them happening. And you're also not so set on no, I can't think of like blah, 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 where you are being stubborn and angry and you taking negative emotions and forcing anything good from coming from them. You know what I mean? So they could go that route, you know, without me being stubborn and like fighting against it. I was building these emotions for Tomose and I didn't know because, again, disconnected. Now that they're connected, it's like all this floods shit, all this comes back. Or they could go the route of the emotions aren't there, but you are logically processing everything Tomose is doing. You know, factually, he did this for me. He did that for me. That when all of a sudden they put your emotions back, you're like, all of a sudden I started thinking of the memories of all the little things he was doing. And I realized that if I hadn't been so adamant of, I don't have feelings for you, and I don't know, and whatever, I would see all those little nice things and realize that they made me feel good, or they would have made me feel good, because thinking about those actions now makes me feel good. Holy shit, now I have these feelings. You know what I mean? In a way, it's similar, but instead of the emotions are building, you just can't connect to them. It's the, wait, I have all this logical data that I'm gonna put to use now that I have my emotions back, and all of a sudden I realize that these feelings fucking exist. Holy shit. Now I develop these feelings very fast because I get this influx of data that I'm mushing together with these emotions and like putting the emotions together with these actions where you normally would be doing that at the time, but we can't. So are we actually like getting emotional reactions that we just can't connect? You know what I mean? We don't know what's happening because the connection to our brain isn't there, but they're happening in the background, you know? Or is it going to be one of those now everything's just smushed together and it's an overload and we're putting all these things together and we're like, holy fucking shit. I would have been building, like, now all of them come like as a flood. You know what I mean? So, like, they could kind of go either way with it. But I feel like that's obviously what's going to happen because you can't build a relationship with Tomose and fall in love with him without emotions. So, how are they going to kind of write that as, like, me not having emotions meant that I couldn't react negatively and make my negative emotions or my anger, my frustration, my confusion overwhelm the actual good feelings. So when I got my emotions back, I realized all the little things he did made me happy and like whatever. You know what I mean? It's an interesting way to do it. I'm here for it. You know, unless we get our emotions back like in, you know, within 10 minutes, like 2 days later, and then the rest of the part. But I don't know how far we are into his route. Where do we have like an hour worth of, you know what I mean? Like, are they going to bring us, we get our emotions back instantly, really fast, so that, oh my God, Tomose did this, he risked all his points and like whatever. But like, why? It's not like he was trying to go home, so like, your heart wouldn't be warmed by him using his points to get your voice back. I mean, any more than it would have normally. You know what I mean? I don't know. So anyway, we'll see. But I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.